نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد بسم الله. Surah Muhammad. So Muhammad is a Madani Surah, 38 ayat and 4 ruku. The name comes from the word Muhammad, since in the beginning it refers to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam with his name, the second verse. It has another name, which is Al-Qital, meaning fighting, and that is because this surah outlines many rulings regarding going on war with disbelievers and rulings about captives, prisoners of war, booties, and spoils of the war, and so on and so forth. So that gives it its second name, Al-Qital. What is the connection of this surah with the previous surah? Well, Surah Ahqaf ended with the mention of the defiantly disobedient people. فَهَلْ يُهْلَكُ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. And Surah Muhammad continues with the description of these people. الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَصَدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَضَلَّ أَعْمَالَهُم. A brief synopsis of the surah. This surah primarily describes the rules of war with disbelievers and related matters, like the rules for captives and spoils. It describes rewards and punishments for believers and disbelievers respectively in this world as well as in the hereafter. It encourages reflection on the history of other tyrant nations across the globe and their consequent destruction and defeat. We learn about the qualities of various rivers in paradise that are described in the surah and other blessings therein. And finally, the surah highlights the cowardice of hypocrites, that when they're invited towards armed struggle, they show their weakness in faith. Let's begin the surah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَصَدُّوا عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَضَلَّ أَعْمَالَهُم. Those who disbelieve and avert people from the way of Allah, He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will waste their deeds. So the term Sabilillah is referring to Allah's way, meaning Islam. وَضَلَّ أَعْمَالَهُمْ أَحْبَطَهَا وَأَبْطَلَهَا فَلَا نَفْعَ لَهَا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will waste their deeds, will nullify them, and they will not have any benefit of those deeds. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will waste the good deeds of disbelievers in the hereafter, since they were not done with the belief, with faith. As we learned in the previous surah, Surah Ahqaf, disbelievers would be reminded in the hereafter that they had already been awarded and spent the rewards of the good deeds in this world, and hence they have nothing to take advantage of in the hereafter. In Surah Furqan, ayat number 23, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَدِمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. And you will regard what they have done of deeds and make them as scattered particles of dust. So they would have no meaning. And a simpler way to understand is, think about this mathematically. You understand that any number multiplied by 0 gives you 0, regardless of how big that other number was. Same could be said for good deeds without faith. So regardless of how amazing that action might be to help humanity in this world, or helping the poor, or whatever the situation might be, if it is done without faith, without belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the last messenger, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Quran, and all the tenets of faith, then that action becomes nullified in the hereafter. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَآمَنُوا بِمَا نُزِّلَ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ وَهُوَ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّهِمْ كَفَّرَ عَنْهُمْ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ وَأَصْلَحَ بَالَهُمْ. And those who believe and do righteous deeds and believe in what has been sent down upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it is the truth from their Lord, He will remove from them their misdeeds and amend their condition. Notice that the verse begins with the mention of people who believe, and that belief includes belief in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Quran. Then why is it repeated again explicitly to believe in what has been sent down to Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? This is described in Balagha as Atfu Khas ala Am, adding a specific mention of something after a general meaning is described. So generally, the belief includes the belief in Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but then it is specifically mentioned to emphasize that part of the faith is to embrace all teachings of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Something else to note in this verse is that this is one of the 4 verses in the entire Quran where Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioned by name. So in Surah Al Imran, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ, ayat number 144. In Surah Ahzab, مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ, ayat number 40. This Surah, Surah Muhammad, وَآمَنُوا بِمَا نُزِّلَ عَلَى مُحَمَّدٍ, ayat number 2. And then in Surah Fath, Muhammadu Rasulullah, ayat number 29. Those are the only 4 places where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the name Muhammad to refer to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. All other places Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has been mentioned with his attributes of Nabi or Rasul in general. We also look at the term later on, أصلح بالهم. So what does the term bala means? حالهم وشأنهم في الدين والدنيا. So it could mean the state of their affairs in this world and in the hereafter. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fix the affairs of people who believe in Allah and His Messenger and Quran. Their situation and their conditions will be improved, and not only this world but also in the hereafter. And this term we have also learned somewhere as balahum. It is in the response of sneezing, as we know in a hadith narrated by Abu Hurairah in Sunan Abi Dawud. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إِذَا عَطَسَ أَحَدُكُمْ فَلْيَقُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ عَلَى كُلِّ حَالٍ وَلْيَقُلْ أَخُوهُ أَوْ صَاحِبُهُ يَرْحَمُكَ اللَّهُ وَيَقُولُ هُوَ يَهْدِيكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيُصْلِحْ بَالَكُمْ. When one of you sneezes, he should say, praise be to Allah in every circumstance. And his brother or his companion should say, may Allah have mercy on you. And he should then reply, may Allah guide you and set right your affairs. So the same term, وَيُصْلِحْ بَالَكُمْ, is also mentioned in the hadith as a response to sneezing. And we see that in the Quran here in Surah Muhammad as well. ذلك بأن الذين كفروا اتبعوا الباطل وأن الذين آمنوا اتبعوا الحق من ربهم كذلك يضرب الله للناس أمثالهم. That is because those who disbelieve follow falsehood, and those who believe follow the truth from their Lord. Thus does Allah present to the people their comparisons. So notice, الذين كفروا, those who disbelieve, what did they do? اتبعوا الباطل, meaning they followed falsehood. And batil could be translated as shaitan, as shirk, or other forms of falsehood. And then what did people who believed do? اتبعوا الحق, and they followed the truth from their Lord. And that could be considered Quran, at-Tawheed, wal-Iman, and many other similar meanings could be taken. كذلك يضرب الله للناس أمثالهم. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through examples, makes clear the good deeds of the believers and the misguidance of the disbelievers, so that we can choose our path and be clear on who we need to follow to get guidance and get the salvation, and who we need to stay away from to protect ourselves from the ultimate punishment. Let's take a quick look at the summary of ayahs 1 to 3. Good deeds of disbelievers will be disregarded in the hereafter, as we know that they have been compensated for that in this world. Mistakes of believers will be forgiven, and their state of affairs will be improved, and that is the reward of them believing in Allah, the Quran, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and all the other tenets of faith. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights actions of believers and disbelievers to clarify truth from falsehood. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.